Hello and welcome to Daybreak Fraser Valley Weekend. I'm Cari Moore.
And I'm Kelly Patton.
So awesome to be back this week with our special guest, former Mayor of Chilliwack, Clint Hames.
He is a director, writer, rock guitarist, and frequent political host on a number of chillTV programs, including
Hames Hot Mic and moderator of a plethora of political debates. And he's here this week to talk about Hector.
Who's Hector?
Speaking of politics, though we try not to.
Yeah, the election happened this week. Lots of happy people, probably a lot of less happy people, but we're not a political show, so we're not going to touch it.
Nope. We also have an interview with Kenny Hawkins of the Owl and the Cat Bookery, here to shine a light on the upcoming Chilliwack Book Festival. That's Saturday, right?
Yeah, next Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And our news roundup from the Valley this week, and also our picks for what to do this weekend. All this coming up on Daybreak Fraser Valley Weekend. All right, welcome back, and let's get into the news.
Okay, before we get into the news, though, I need to know, how is the kitchen remodel going?
So close to being done. There was a guy there this week, and so it's very close. We had a whole family dinner this weekend, so gradually taking things from the fridge in the garage into the house.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's nice. It feels like it's been a long time.
Yeah.
But
we're still opening drawers going, where is anything? Yeah. What about you? How's the gardening?
The garden's going well. Things are popping up. I am taking pictures of seedlings, so my husband thinks I've lost my mind. But I'm not going to lie, it's nice to just have time, and the weather was incredible last weekend.
Yes, it was gorgeous.
I'm hoping that it's beautiful this weekend, too.
Yeah, hopefully.
So it's also coming up to grad season. So I don't know about you, but my feed was filled with everybody sharing
All
the
of
pictures.
their kids going off,
To the grad cruise, right? Happened. And so I'm looking forward to prom season, seeing all of the beautiful
dresses and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's for, I don't know about other parents, but it's like the one day that my kids let me take pictures of them.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it.
We've always been very photogenic, so.
Oh, well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
A little
news.
bit sadder in the news, though. Yeah, so a rough news week. So we know last weekend, the Lapu Festival tragedy in Vancouver
That was horrible.
on Saturday night.
Yeah, they're still digging their way through it, and so many people affected.
Yeah, so lots of people who died, a lot of people who were seriously injured. I know that there were comments and condolences and offers of support from around everywhere.
Yeah.
The premier, obviously, the King Charles, sent his thoughts, and frontline organizations offering their support. If you have been impacted or know somebody who's been impacted, I know there are many members of our community who are, a lot of them are there as well. There are resources available, so please reach out to Victim Services if you're looking for resources. They are out there. Don't struggle on your own. Yeah.
Another scary situation, somebody with measles flew from Toronto, from Vancouver, and then made their way out here. So that's...
In Chilliwack.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's been an exposure in Chilliwack. And I mean, chances are they probably didn't know they had measles when they flew out.
But the dangerous part is the people on the plane didn't know he had measles either.
Yeah.
So they could be affected. And
on the plane, in town, any exposure.
highly contagious.
Highly contagious. And we know from what we're seeing in the States, there's loss of life, and very, very young children are incredibly vulnerable.
Yeah.
So make sure your vaccinations are up to date. If for whatever reason you cannot be vaccinated, encourage everyone around you to get vaccinated, because
it's like herd immunity.
Yeah, public health doesn't love it being called that, but we all know what that means. So let's be real. If you're concerned, check out public health. They'll have good information for you.
Lots of resources.
Yeah, BC CDC page.
Yeah, for sure.
Go check it out. So
also, this last bunch of over the last week, a lot of people have been affected by fires in Chilliwack.
Yeah.
Easter weekend.
We had one,
But it wasn't just one. It was like the whole floor of an entire apartment building. And so then everybody in the building, they're out for like 16, 17 months. Everyone, each floor. So that's terrifying. Yeah. Because where are they going to go?
Yeah. Well, and then we know there was a fire, 8 people.
Yep. In my neighborhood.
In your neighborhood.
Yeah.
8 people, no injuries, thank goodness, no fatalities. But I know that first responders, firefighters are reminding people to test their smoke alarms. Make sure you have a smoke alarm on every level, and in your sleeping areas. It's really important.
And if you're a renter, make sure you do have renter's insurance.
Yeah, contents insurance is very
Don't
important.
think that you would ever need it, but you do, for sure.
Absolutely.
Something we reported last week was taking place in Hope, the by-election for the vacant District of Hope Council seat.
That's right.
And on April 26th, saw Bonnie Graham, a professional artist, win in a bit of a landslide, more than doubling her nearest challenger, Ned Brown. So that's pretty amazing. She's a wonderful woman. I've been in contact with her before.
Oh, well, fantastic. Well, congratulations. And a huge thanks to everyone who stepped up, put their hand up to run in the election.
Yeah, it was a lot of elections for them in Hope.
Yeah, and thank you to all the voters who turned out, because we need to make sure that when there's an opportunity to have our voice heard, that it's heard.
Yep.
Yeah. So, in Langley,
Another sad
oh
thing.
my goodness, yeah, stunt pilot Rob Holland, he died in a plane crash.
And it wasn't even warming up for the event. It was just coming in for the air show.
Yeah, so he was coming in for the air show. There was a crash, loss of life. This is really sad.
horrible.
And there's been a couple plane crashes lately, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Which more first responders being busy, I guess.
I mean, we're really lucky that we have the first responders we do. And I know in one of the plane crashes, it was search and rescue. Ultimately, that was able to recover. But so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, after the break, our guest this week will be Clint Hames. Welcome to the show this week. We have Clint Hames with us. This is going to be amazing.
We're going to have some fun.
Yeah, we are.
I think before we jump right into what you're here to talk to us about, for people who don't know, if there's any, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? You've been in Chilliwack. You've done so many different things. So,
oh gosh, I think my family moved here in 1958. I don't even know how many years ago that is, but it seems like a lot.
So not math. He wasn't doing math.
Yeah, I haven't done a lot of math, but we came here because my dad was in the military, so we were posted to CFB Chilliwack or Camp Chilliwack in those days. And I never left. My whole family up and moved to different places. 3 brothers and my mom and dad, and they all left, and I'm still here.
Were you an adult when they all left you?
Were
you still in high school?
I left home at 18 to pursue a bunch of different dreams. And I came home one day and they said, I was living somewhere else. I came home one day and they said, we're moving. You're not coming. I said, okay. That works for me. And ironically, where I lived on the base is about 4 houses away from where I live now. So when the base was developed, I thought, I got to move back there. And so we did.
It doesn't look anything like it looked when I lived there or when you lived there, right?
No, not at all.
All the military kids are like, this is not where we lived.
There are a few vestiges of the old PMQs there, including the house I grew up in, but not much looks the same anymore. Yeah. Except the trees.
The trees.
Yes.
The trees are still there,
gorgeous.
which is good.
So what was your first venture into being somebody in Chilliwack? I know that you did
I used
a lot
to be
of different...
somebody in Chilliwack.
Well, you are somebody.
Well, actually, the first
lot of
thing
different-
that I ever ventured, I was always involved in the arts and theater, which was, you could be very high profile in those days because, you do a big production and that's a big deal. The first time I was involved in a very big production, I directed Fiddler on the Roof in late 1970s, early 1980s.
And was that with the Players Guild?
With the Chilliwack Players Guild. And it was wildly successful, and people remembered it for years to come, and have directed, dozens and dozens of things since then. Nice. But that was kind of the first big production I was associated with. And one of the things that we felt very strongly about, I did and many other people, was that Chilliwack needed a good performing arts center. We needed a place to do this because we were doing it in the Evergreen Hall where the floor is flat and the stage is up here, and the first 2 rows got a heck of a show. And then everybody behind that was kind of doing this the whole time.
What are they saying?
What's going on? And so I worked very tirelessly to try to find a way to get a theater built in Chilliwack. And in around the 1990s or early 1990s, I decided I should run for city council. That was a way to kind of pursue getting the arts a stronger foothold in the community. And I was successful and was on council for 3 terms. And then thought, well, heck, this is fun. As Kelly knows, campaigning is just so much fun.
It's not.
That I thought, and I had a lot of people say, you've got a really good combination of experience and dreams and vision and pragmatism in you that we think you'd make a good mayor. So I believed them and ran for mayor and was elected and served 3 terms. And the last project I put shovels in the ground for was the cultural center. So I thought, okay, I got that done. I can leave now happy. We've done a lot of great things. And funny enough, we mentioned the base. It was less than a year later, the Canada Lands Company, which is a federal non-agent crown corporation that was developing bases around the country that the federal government had sold to them. They called me up because of the work we'd done together in Chilliwack and said, hey, how'd you like to be on our board of directors? I said, that sounds like fun. So I got to spend the next 10 years on the board of Canada Lands nationally and recreating what we'd achieved in Chilliwack in a whole bunch of different places across the country. And boy, that was an awful lot of fun. I enjoyed that very much. So then I retired from that and from being the mayor and decided that I should just live this life of leisure and do more theater, golf more.
Guitar.
Then some folks, we were actually we were the pit orchestra for a musical production that involved a lot of 60s British invasion music. And we had so much fun putting that together that we said, well, we should stay together and just be a band. So for 7 or 8 years, I was
You had a band.
playing in a band. My children continue to be horrified at my lifestyle, rock and roll motorcycles and such. But no, I'm assuming they might be somewhat proud of their father, but who knows?
I would think so.
I bet, yeah. All right, so from early days of arts and culture into council and mayor, and now motorcycling rebel extraordinaire with the guitar. But what you're here to talk to us about today is Hector, which I'm very excited about. So can you tell us about it?
I think I started by saying, how long I'd been involved in theater, and pretty much over 50 years doing work with the Theater Guild and the university here, getting their program going. And the only thing I hadn't done in theater was write. And so some time ago, I got the notion that I should maybe try this. And a wise man said, you should write about what you know. And many people will know my career over that time, while I was enjoying having fun with all kinds of other things, was working with and supporting people with disabilities. Yep. And so I thought, I know a lot about that. I have some very deep and passionate feelings about that. Maybe I should write something about that. So Hector is what's come out of that. And it's kind of a compendium of a lot of stories that I have from my time working. But I wove a whole bunch of very interesting stories into one character. So this life that is portrayed in the play is a compendium of a whole bunch of lives, and I put it together into one story. And it was really a lot of fun as I was going through it about 15 years ago, writing some of this down. And then COVID happened. Yeah. And I thought, after a few months of, like we all did, we sort of huddled in our basements terrified. We weren't sure what was going to happen. I came to the realization that this is an unbelievable opportunity for somebody like me who's retired, had this time. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to use this to be productive. So I sat down and wrote a bunch more of the play. And it was quite an interesting experience. And it's going on May 9th, 10th, and 11th at the Cultural Center. And I'm really, I'm excited and terrified about presenting something that I've created to an audience. But yes, we will.
You will. It sounds amazing. So I'll go see it.
I'm definitely going to go see it. So, and that's something we have in common is our work in community living,
Correct.
and our passion for carrying those stories. And I am so excited to see how you share some of the stories that you've been carrying and you've been entrusted with, and this combination of this into this character Hector, and I will definitely be there as well. So,
well, that's great. The play takes place in 1980, and it was an interesting time period for if you were a person living with the challenge of having an intellectual disability, because the world wasn't quite ready to have you as a participant in the community, and there were a lot of assumptions made just by saying key words. If I said Kelly is blank, there would be a
limit,
a bucket load of assumptions made just by a certain word, and limits placed on you as an individual. And this is the story. The story opens with the death of the family matriarch, leaving Hector alone. And I know in your life in this field, and I certainly have, I know that happens, and how the world responds to that is sort of what the play's about. And then there's all kinds of little twists and turns, and an estranged family member who has to now come home and deal with some of the issues that are presented, and then some compounding issues that are fun for everybody to discover as the play goes forward. It's not funny at all. It's, as our work was rarely in that area, funny. It's a drama, and it's...
It sounds like somebody's going to learn stuff, though.
Well,
if you haven't been in that world.
I was quite surprised that when the first time I wrote the first act and had the second act ready to go in a couple of different directions, and I thought, I want to hear this. So I brought some of my actor friends together and a small audience and said, read the first act for these people. And then we had a talk back, and I said, okay, what do you think should happen? What are you getting from, where is it, and I got some unbelievable feedback. And then went and within, the first act took 17 years, and the second act took about a month. And I couldn't put it down because I thought I learned so much from that. And when I came back and read it for another audience, and I'm not saying this to be boastful, just it's impactful information. And I would say about half the audience was crying at the end. And I won't say whether that was a
good thing
or
or a bad
sad
thing.
or because that's part of the magic of theater, is making people feel emotions. And it's there is a lot of confrontation in the play. There's a lot of love, but it's basically a story about testing the limits of forgiveness, which is an interesting subject for me. Do we ever actually forgive? Or do we simply just forget? Do we, is there anything unforgivable? Are there things that are unforgivable, and what might they be? And so the play is a wonderful examination on that level of forgiveness, and what people can do that can be forgiven, how difficult it is, how we can base our lack of forgiveness on information that's completely incorrect, but we hear a word, or we think we know what a person is thinking. And so it
sounds so fascinating.
Well, and I can't tell you much more
I know.
because there's so many
much,
lovely little twists and tricks in the script. And I've deliberately led the audience in certain directions. Well, I give them information knowing they will probably make assumptions in certain ways. And so...
well,
yes.
On that note, and I mean, we could talk all day, but it's Friday morning. I'm looking forward to May 9th because that's the opening night.
Opening night is May 9th.
May 9th, 10th, and 11th. And
At the Chilliwack
Cultural Center.
Yeah.
And you did mention there's a bit of a disclaimer, so just be aware that there's sensitive topic.
It does deal with a number of sensitive topics. There is discussion around abuse and the impact of abuse on families, and that can be a trigger for some folks who just want to make sure. There's a couple of bad words, but they're they're nothing worse than you hear at the Thanksgiving dinner table, I figure.
Okay.
All right.
But I'd love for people to come. Tickets are available at the Cultural Center online through the Cultural Centre's website, or go to the Players Guild website, playersguild.ca, and there's links to the tickets and everything there too.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being with us
Hey,
today.
you're welcome. My pleasure.
Oh, it's great to have you. After the break, Kenny Hawkins of the Owl and the Cat Bookery is here, so be sure to come right back. Yes. We are back, and with us is Kenny Hawkins and Pete the Cat. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you are a local business owner extraordinaire, and we have some exciting things to talk about. But first, can you tell us a little bit about yourself for people who haven't met you yet?
Okay. Well, I've been living in Chilliwack about 20 plus years now. I moved from Alberta. I, through a sequence of events, ended up opening up a bookstore in Garrison called the Owl and the Cat Bookery. And it's been fun. I support a lot of local artisans and some local authors and just have a really good time selling books.
Awesome. Have you always been passionate about books, or is this something adult-wise?
No, I've been passionate about books for a long, long time. Actually, I'm a second generation bookseller, and I'm a second time bookseller. My mother had a bookstore in Alberta for 8 years, and I had my own bookstore for 5 years in Edmonton.
Oh,
Yeah, in my 20s.
that's fantastic. All right, so you've been in Chilliwack, you said, like 20 years?
Yes.
Okay, so what's your favorite thing about our community?
Well, I love the mountains. I was really drawn to Chilliwack actually originally because I was looking for a historic house. And my passion was in old houses. I grew up in one, and I wanted to own one, and I looked around Mission, which is where I originally landed, and then looked around Abbotsford, didn't see any cool old houses, so I ended up in Chilliwack, and I've been happy with that choice.
Do you have a cool old house, though?
I don't. I lost it in a divorce, but
Oh, dear.
but I do actually have a cool house in Cultus Lake.
Nice.
Fantastic. So you're in my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so you came to talk to us today about some pretty cool things that are going on.
Yes.
So first, who's this guy? Who's Pete?
What's
Pete the
happening there?
Cat.
Yeah.
He's kind of don't sweat the small stuff kind of guy.
Is he from a book?
He's from a book,
Okay.
and it's a Pete the Cat series. And kids really, really respond to him, but as an adult, I love him as well. And
looks
he
very
just
cuddly.
really looks on the chipper side of things. He's a happy-go-lucky guy, and when things go a little sideways, he seems to find a positive way to deal with it. And we just wanted him to be part of our event.
Okay. Event. So what is your event?
Oh, we're doing the Chilliwack Book Festival.
For the first time?
For the first time, this
Launching
first
it? Oh,
year, I kind of, as we look around our community, we see a lot of talented people, musicians, artisans, artists, and I felt like someone really needed to shine the light on authors and illustrators as well. And so I thought someone should. Happens
So
to
it's
be
a lot
me.
of local, but also Lower Mainland?
Yeah, it's mostly going to be local, but there are some people from other parts of BC and at least one author coming from Alberta as well.
That's exciting. And it's not too long after BC Books Day,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So we have incredible publishers, but authors, illustrators. So who is going to be there?
Well, one of my favorite authors is Grant Lawrence. He's actually one of BC's best-selling authors. I'm just really drawn to his stories. He writes on several different subjects, but the one that I'm really drawn to is his dad bought some property in Desolation Sound in the 70s. It attracted some real characters to the community. And Grant, although him and his sister would have rather been watching TV and hanging out closer to home, video games, etc., ended up having to spend quite a bit of time in Desolation Sound and getting to know some of these characters, and he wrote some really funny stories.
And so he'll be at the fair.
So he'll be there, yeah.
Neat.
So he's one of them. We have an author from Alberta. I don't know if you've ever heard of Ryan Stuka, but he went missing in 2018.
Oh.
And he was working in Sun Peaks near Kamloops. He went missing from the moment his parents got the call. The book takes place from the moment they took the call, okay. So it's very in first time, and it's heartbreaking. It hurt my heart a lot to read it, but also at one point I wanted to be a part of how can we help get the word out. And so these dinos go all over the world. People pick them up at my store and other places. They can be delivered, and they pass on the word that Ryan is still missing, and how can we maybe someone knows something. These dinos help to spread that word. And the book is really good. She's going to be there, and she's just a really bright light, and I think people enjoy meeting her, people who already follow.
So it's his mom.
Yeah, his mom wrote the book.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
Missing from me.
So when you say book festival, is it booths of people?
So it's going to be essentially tables. This year is modest in decor because we put it together. Once we decided on location and secured our space, we did put things together quite quickly. And so we are focusing more on the authors and less on the decor.
Which you should.
Yeah, so it's going to be in the end about 22 to 25 authors all in one space. You can go and talk to them about their books, but also some of them have chosen to be speakers or on a panel. They might be talking about how they got started writing, or some of them bang out a lot of books, like where they get their inspiration. Or even the publishing part of it. Some are published authors and others are self-published, and how they navigated that or chose what direction they went in. So that's going to be kind of interesting too. I think everybody could learn something.
Will there
from
be
them.
other vendors there as well? Or just
We
strictly books?
decided not to have other vendors this time. I think we can grow into that. Once again, we did just want to focus on the authors and what they have to offer. And so this year, no other vendors.
Okay.
Oh, except for Panago, Sardis.
Oh, I was going to ask,
Pizza
is there
will be there
food
because
there? Okay,
Pete
good.
loves pizza.
Okay.
And we just thought it would be nice if people were going to spend some time there, then they could also have a little snack as well. So
That's fantastic. So I need to ask you one more question.
Yeah.
And it's a burning question. So the name of your store,
Yes.
which is a beautiful store in
Yes.
Garrison. Where does this name come from?
Actually, my husband and his mother kind of came up with it in a sense. I was going to name it something a little more spiritual, like Good Vibes or something like that. And they were like, too femmy. And so my husband decided that the All in the Cat Bookery sounded like a cool name, and I kind of let it stir around in my brain a little bit, and it felt right. And actually, I have had little kids that their grandparents bring them books, and when they walk by, they know that it's the All in the Cat Bookery. Nice. And then people in their 80s that say, I love cats and I love owls and I love your name. So it's been good for all ages.
Awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for being on the show today,
Thank
Kenny.
you.
And best of luck with your festival.
Thank you.
Which is next weekend, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's from May 10th,
10th.
from 11 to 4, so hence the food need, at the Atrium at UFE Sardis campus.
Yep.
And after the break, all the stuff you'll want to do this weekend in the Fraser Valley. Welcome back. Those interviews were lots of fun, and I learned a lot.
It's fantastic. I am definitely going to check out Hector, and I will be going to the book fair and meet some local authors and illustrators as well. How about you? You gonna?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a go. There's lots planned, so.
Well, and you're gonna be going to see Matilda as well, right?
Yes. We're gonna talk about that in a sec.
Okay.
Abbotsford, there's actually Oliver Jr. at the MEI Middle School on Clearbrook Road. That's at 7 p.m. on May the 4th.
Perfect. In the Chilliwack area, so out near Agassiz, Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Two-Spirit.
Couple of events.
There's a couple of events to recognize this. It's really important. May 4th, Shem First Nation is having a march. I think it's 2 kilometers down to the beach. And on May 5th, there's an event at Seabird Island. So really important to get out there to make sure that we spread
Just
awareness.
become aware of things, yeah.
Yeah. I think I'll be trying to head out to that.
So it's the last weekend for Matilda at the Cultural Center, like we said, and I'm going to be going. It's going to be really cool because my daughter-in-law is Trench Bowl, so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I love Matilda.
Yeah, and there's also at the Cultural Center on May the 4th a special presentation by the Chilliwack Metropolitan Orchestra for May the 4th Be With You.
All right.
I love a good orchestra, and I think they'll be playing a lot of Star Wars music.
Star Wars music, indeed.
Yes, I love May the 4th. My daughter got married on May the 4th.
And did she do it intentionally because of
Yes,
Star Wars?
she did.
Okay, well,
Yes. It was a Saturday that year.
that's fantastic. My partner is very into Star Wars, and we have like the Star Wars wedding ring tattoos. It's all, we must love them a lot, is all I can say.
Yeah. And the weekend after is going to be pretty big.
Okay.
We got a lot of things. Chill Sound 60s Review here on May the 9th at the Vineyard.
It's going to be jamming. All right. Hector. And so Clint Hames is directing it at the Chilliwack Cultural Center, and that's May 9th to 11th.
Yep.
And then we have the Chilliwack Book Festival, right? UFE?
Yeah.
In
In Sardis on May the 10th. There's a lot going on.
A lot going on.
Yeah. In Langley, though, there is going to be the Langley Dancing Witches at the locality brewing on 252nd Street. I don't know if you've ever seen Dancing Witches.
I have
but they're
not.
A hoot. They're a hoot. They dress up in like almost like cartoon type witches, like with the striped socks and the funky hats and the purple hair, and then they all dance with their brooms.
I've seen paddling witches.
Ooh.
I've never seen dancing witches though, so
cousins,
that's at
yeah.
6 p.m. So I'm pretty sure I could still be in bed by 9.
You could, yep.
Yeah.
If that's too energetic for you, maybe you're a cream puff. Speaking of cream puffs.
Okay. Yeah, because you can actually learn how to master cream puffs with Whitney on Sunday from 1 till 3 on 64th Avenue. And that sounds like it would be delicious.
Yes. Yeah. Cream puffs. In Mission, the farmers markets are kicking off May the 3rd from 10 till 2. And they continue every Saturday until October. And that's probably the first city that kicks it off because I'm sure there's some in every city. So that's in south side of Centennial Park on Grand Street.
Okay, I'm very excited for farmers market season now that I am doing my own vegetables.
Yes.
Not a farmer, but we'll say farmer superfan. Okay.
Yeah.
So what time is it now?
I think it's time to get to work.
All right, maybe we'll just start the weekend early
Yes.
instead.
So have an amazing Fraser Valley weekend.